Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. The first thing I have to say is you guys are amazing. Honestly, very, very surprised, but I made this post a few days ago saying Brutal Hydra, 1 key, 99% auto, 50 likes, and I'll make a video on this team. Honestly, you guys absolutely blew that away. 50 likes, more like 400 likes. So I'm very surprised about that, but it said I only turn off auto to click Arbiter's res and sometimes click the heads that ate the champions. So the number one question that I had on this team was, I don't have Mother Cybele. Who can I use instead of Mother Cybele? So I'm actually very glad that I did this post before doing this video because I have a champion who is an exact swap in for Mother Cybele. So if you don't have Mother Cybele, you can use this champion right here, Nia. Let me go ahead and find her real quick. Nia is going to work exactly the same as Mother Cybele did, but if you don't have Nia, you can use Mother Cybele. I'm not really sure who does better, honestly, because I've only tested a few runs each, but Nia did a 50 million run, and Mother Cybele did this 40 million run. The 50 million run is what you're going to see in this video, but Nia is an excellent, excellent champion. Now, before we get into the actual gear of these champions, I want to make sure to jump in here and talk about the presets, because the presets are very, very important. So, Brutal Hydra, the 1 key damage is 29.4 million, okay? So that's the goal. We're trying to reach over that. This team is not designed to go to 80 million, 90 million. It's not designed to carry your clan and killing the Hydra. This team is designed to provide you a team that you can set to auto. You got to watch it because Arbiter's res is turned off, but you can set it to auto. You can be kind of loosely paying attention to the screen. If a champion gets eaten, click the head and you're going to free them. It's going to be perfectly fine, okay? Very, very smooth run. There's a few situations that you will have to reset, so I'll go over that in just a minute. But as far as the presets go, we have Nia opening up with his A1 ability, prioritizing this A2. Artak, number 1, number 2. Pretty easy stuff to see. Uugo, number 1, number 2. The biggest things are what's turned off, okay? The Bark Flesh, we're turning this off. We don't really want the ally protection. We have enough champions taking enough damage. I honestly don't want my Nia, who's not really built extremely tanky. She's pretty tanky, but I don't want her dying. She's a very, very impactful champion, so I just turn off the A3 ability. And then Arbiter. Arbiter is prioritizing the A3, but turned off the res. This is why I manualed the res. So the res is really not that bad of a cooldown. Like, you're not going to have a ton of champions dying all the time because you have a ton of protection in general. So turn off this res, and if you see a champion, most likely Inquisitor Shamael, die, then just go ahead, turn it off auto, res the champion, and then continue the battle. But you don't want her using this res, well, unless, of course, you want it to be 100% full auto, then go for it and try. But I really prefer just kind of watching it and using the res only when somebody actually dies, which I've had to use the res like 1, maybe 2 times in the previous run with Nia. And then the 40 million screenshot, I may have used it 2 or 3 times. It really doesn't happen very frequently, and it's very obvious before it happens. So there's Arbiter. Mithrala is just number 1, number 2. This Hex is absolutely so massive, so helpful. Mithrala is an amazing champion, plus bringing in the strength and the shield, just so good. And then we have Inquisitor Shamael. Obviously, he's here to deal with the Head of Torment, but he also brings another massive role, and that is being an absolute monster at breaking champions free from heads once they get eaten, especially when Artak gets eaten. You can see this team when you're first looking at it, right? This doesn't have many damage dealers. We literally have Artak, and then we have Inquisitor Shamael. So you got to make sure your Inquisitor Shamael is actually built to do some damage because you're having a ton of buffs go up. So he's having a ton of defense ignore as it is, plus the defense ignore from Uugo, but this ability ignores 25% of the target's defense per buff. You need 3 buffs because it initially ignores 25%. So 3 buffs plus the initial 25%, it's 100% defense ignore. You're going to be doing a ton of damage. Just make sure that he's actually built to do some damage. Mine's not built amazing, but he hits the Hydra heads very hard and does do a decent chunk of damage overall. His build's pretty flexible. But as far as the champion's gear goes, let me talk about the number 1 champion, okay? This is going to be Mother Cybele or Nia. These are the champions that I believe tie this all together, and I think you guys are going to be pretty, I guess, interested in this build. So the reason why this champion is so amazing is because of the Provoke plus Retaliation set that pairs so incredibly well with specifically her A1 ability. Attacks all enemy, 30% chance of placing 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. So she is constantly using this A1 ability, having a chance to place Provoke, having a chance to keep at the decreased speed. She's getting boosted by Shamael because she is in the leader spot, so anytime Torment places a fear, he cleanses it and boosts Nia. So Nia is getting chances to place the Provoke from her counterattacks, from her Retaliation set, which is a 2-piece set now, which is incredible, plus from her Revenge accessories, basically equip as many of those as you possibly can, and then from Shamael's boosting, she's using her A1 or her A2 ability. Remember, we turned off the A3, and her A2 is incredible as well. It is a cleanse on a single target, and then it heals that target by 40% of their max HP. If the target of this skill is not this champion, decreases the cooldown of all the target skills by 2 turns. That is so good, especially when all my champions, all their skills are amazing, the ones that we're using, so I don't care about any of them getting reduced cooldowns. And then her passive, whenever this champion is healed, heals each ally except this champion by 20% of that heal. So Arbiter healing, if Nia heals, if Uugo heals, we have a lot of different heals going off, so she's spreading that heal quite a bit throughout the duration of the fight. So as far as her masteries go, before we get into the actual artifacts, this is the champion that I'd say is the most impactful, whether it's Nia or Mother Cybele. These champions, without them, the team's going to have another provoke / decrease speed champion, because these two bring so much in their kit with that decreased speed consistently, plus the consistent provoke for the Head of Decay. That is a big reason why at the very start of the match, I have to reset it a few times, because if the provoke does not land on the Head of Decay, it's going to be a bumpy ride. Now, if the Head of Decay does not start in the rotation, then you're going to be perfectly fine. But as far as our actual stats go, what we have, obviously, provoke plus retaliation. Ideally, that's what you're going to have too. If you don't have provoke plus retaliation, go provoke plus something else decent. Provoke is the #1 thing, but make sure you have revenge accessories. If for some reason you have no retaliation gear, you have no revenge accessories, then you're probably going to have to go down this mastery tree and go ahead and pick up the retribution as well as the deterrence masteries to give yourself a little bit better chance to actually keep up the provoke plus the decreased speed on all the heads. So as far as our actual, did I click through everything here? I did. Let's click through the accessories. They're not the best. I have better accessories on my account, but they worked out perfectly for what I'm going for. So her HP, make sure she's tanky, okay? That's what she needs. She needs to be very tanky, so very good HP, good defense. We're going to have the increased defense from Mithrala, but still make sure she has really good defense. Push her speed up as high as you can. If you can get 250, go for it. But if you can only get 215, also go for it. Make her as fast as you can while keeping her tanky, but also keeping her accuracy above 280. If you come over here, you can see her accuracy needed for Brutal Hydra is going to be 280 accuracy. So make sure her accuracy is at least 280, which if you have any area bonuses for Hydra, which I have very few, that shouldn't be an issue whatsoever. So Nia is probably the most important. Nia or Mother Cybele. Mother Cybele is going to be the exact same build with the revenge accessories, retaliation stuff, provoke, same stuff, same speeds, everything. So as far as the next champions, let's talk about Artak. So Artak is the big damage dealer here. He is the one bringing 90% of the damage. So my Artak build is the exact same build that I use to duo basically everything in the game. So he is going pretty fast, 265 speed. He does have a 100% crit rate. It's not needed, but it's obviously going to add some extra damage. Most of his damage comes from his burns. So basically my goal with him is to make him tanky, good HP, good defense, good speed, 100% crit rate, get some crit damage. Honestly, his crit damage doesn't scale that well anyway, so push it if you can, but if not, don't worry too much about it. This build is designed for him to solo and duo those different areas of the game, and then his accuracy is 280 plus. As far as his actual gear goes, we have regeneration plus perception. You can go regeneration plus immortal. You don't necessarily even need the regeneration, but he does chunk his max HP. He reduces his own max HP. So if you're able to, keep yourself healed up pretty well, plus the other champions healing, plus the other champions shielding with Mithrala, you're going to survive pretty well. Like, he actually never died in any of my matches. He's a very tanky champion, very good at surviving, and overall just worked out fantastic. So skills, obviously all fully booked. Blessing, I have Soul Reap. As far as Nia, I'm not really sure what blessing I would take. Maybe Miracle Heal, reduces the destroyed max HP, but honestly, I'm not 100% sure. That or maybe the Commanding Presence, something along those lines. But either way, I don't have any blessings on Nia just yet. Artak, I have Soul Reap. That's for the solo and duo content. If not, I'd probably have Brimstone. But I already have one Brimstone on my team, so it doesn't really matter. Soul Reap does do some damage, but it's really good for soloing. So as far as his masteries go, this is what we have. I'll move myself in the middle so you guys can see it a little bit better. But these are the masteries we have. So he's pretty fast, but there's no real specific speed tunes with these champions, or at least Artak, okay? The other champions are just built to be pretty fast. Most of them are above 220 speed, but they're not crazy. I'd say the most crazy built champion is probably my Uugo. My Uugo is actually the one I use on Nightmare Hydra. She is good HP, good defense, but she's 250 speed in Relentless Gear. The Relentless Gear is not required. It is a big help, but you do have Nia reducing the cooldown, so she may get some cooldowns reduced on Uugo, so it may not be a huge issue anyways, but I do have my Uugo built, what I'd say is probably the most difficult build to achieve, but She's overcapped on accuracy for Brutal Hydra. You only need 280 for Brutal. She doesn't need to be this fast, and she really doesn't need to be this tanky. Though I do want to say, make sure you push her HP as high as you can, because her A3 ability heals based on this champion's max HP. Then heals all allies 20% of this champion's max HP. So make sure this champion has a lot of max HP, right? And then her A2 ability placed in the decreased defense and block buffs. If for some reason you don't have her, I imagine Uugo could work pretty well, but you do miss out on the decreased defense. So something to keep in mind there. The only champion who that really matters for is going to be Inquisitor Shamael. You will do more damage with Uugo. She is a better champion for this specific role in general, but if you really need the block buffs, I think a champion like Uugo, that's the main thing Uugo is bringing for me, is the block buff. So if you really need that, you can fit somebody else in that position. As far as their actual pieces of gear, let me click through this real quick. And then I'll, of course, leave a actual replay of the actual Hydra fight at the end of this video. And then our masteries, we have War Master. You'll notice as a consistent theme across every single champion on the team is we have War Master. War Master does so good. Hex, spread and damage, War Master doing big hits to our to the Hydra. When we don't have crit rate on really anybody, that's where 99% of our damage comes from. Speaking of damage, let's talk about Inquisitor Shamael. So Inquisitor Shamael is going to be a champion who's hard to replace. He has a few roles. He's not a mischief tank, but his roles are freeing champions from the fear, so being a torment counter, but also freeing champions from being eaten. So a champion like Siphi can kind of counter torment, but not great. A champion like Duchess can kind of counter torment, but doesn't free champions. So a bunch of different options could counter torment, but they're not also going to be able to free champions from being eaten. So Inquisitor Shamael does do that. Now the Guardian set on him is by no means required. If you're somebody who doesn't have very good Guardian set, maybe you can't build Inquisitor Shamael to be very tanky, don't put him in Guardian set. Put him in literally anything else. Honestly, Lifesteal is not even a bad idea if you have Lifesteal or even Bloodthirst, because he is the champion who dies the most. But if you have a consistent source of healing, you're going to be able to actually keep him alive, which is going to be extremely helpful, obviously. So just go ahead, make sure he survives, stack his damage up if you can. I wouldn't worry about defense ignoring sets because he's going to have buffs on him 99% of the time anyways. He's going to be ignoring basically 100% of the enemy's defense majority of the time. So as far as his stats go, I prioritize HP and defense. I prioritize my majority HP, making sure he actually stays alive, and then speed. I like mine pretty fast, 100% crit rate, and then good crit damage. Accuracy and resistance, doesn't matter. Just make sure he does good damage. And if you're able to, go ahead and give him some Guardian gear, make him a little bit more of a support role in the team, make him take a little bit more extra damage. That's perfectly fine as well. That's just going to help your team in general survive a little bit longer. So that's how my Shamael is built. You can go either the support role like I do, or you could go the 100% just all out damage. Just make sure he still survives, because if he's dead, he's doing 0 damage, and you don't want that. So he's fully booked, got Phantom Touch, nice little extra boost of damage. So definitely go ahead and pick up Phantom Touch. He's going to do very good about freeing the heads, and you'll see that. You'll see he frees the champions from the heads very, very quickly. So as far as his masteries go, we're going to move myself once again. We have Giant Slayer. Giant Slayer is the way to go. Copy these masteries, and you should be in a pretty solid spot. Now, next champion, I'm going to stay right here in the middle, is going to be Mithrala Lifebane. So Mithrala is built to duo content with my Artak. That's why she has Regeneration plus Immortal. It's not needed, though it does help. It is nice to have. She is built with high HP, good defense, relatively. Honestly, it could be boosted up a little bit more, but it's perfectly fine. And then her speed is pretty good, 259 speed, so make her fast. Make her really high HP, because her shield is based on her HP. So push her HP up really high. Give her good defense. Give her good speed. 250 plus if you can get it. As fast as you can make her, that's going to be fantastic. And then her resistance, I haven't built it, but I do have some resistance. 280 plus accuracy. When these are combined, I should resist the Hydra perfectly fine. I would need 450 resistance, but honestly, I don't have a Mischief tank. She was targeted by the head of Mischief quite a bit, so it did work out well, but I don't have a dedicated Mischief tank on this team. I just haven't done it yet. So it's worked out perfectly fine. If you do need a Mischief tank, you can try to work that around. But honestly, Mithrala, if she's getting hit by the head of Mischief, she is going to be perfectly fine. So as far as her artifacts, I'll click through these real quick so you guys can see them a little bit better. In case you're curious, sometimes I like to see the actual artifacts. Gives me a better idea, even past the actual stats. So as far as her skills, everything's fully booked. Her Hex is incredible. It works very good with the head that, you know, I forget what the head's even called. The head that you can't target unless it's under Hex, that like redirects all your attacks. completely went blank, but this does very well against that. Hex also spreads the damage. Very, very good. Makes Mithrala look like she's doing a ton of damage. You can see that in this screenshot right here. Mithrala did not do 7.5 million damage from her hits. She did that from the Hex. Arbiter also doesn't have War Master apparently because she didn't even do 1 million damage. But this is Mithrala's build. She does have Brimstone. Very, very helpful. As far as her masteries, very similar to everybody else. She has War Master. She has good support masteries, and that's Mithrala. Not a super crazy build, I don't think, but a build that works very, very well in duoing, soloing content, but also in HYDRA. So now my Arbiter, who apparently does not have War Master, which would have made that a lot better. Honestly, I could have squeezed out maybe an extra 5 million damage. Maybe not, but probably at least 3 million, right? Let's see. Mother Side Bell did 4 million. Okay, Arbiter would probably do about 2 million. Arbiter would probably be about 2 million, maybe 1 million, so maybe not a huge difference. But Arbiter, she's not really in any particular build. Make sure she's tanky. Honestly, your speed Arbiter should be fine. As long as she has like HP percentage gloves or chest plate, she should have enough HP to survive. Arbiter has good base stats. Like 21,000 HP, 1,100 defense. She has solid base stats. So just make sure she can survive some hits. 60,000, 70,000 HP. Push it close to 3,000 defense. Her speed, I have it 315. But honestly, it can be slower. It could be higher. It doesn't really matter. She's here for the turn meter boosting and the heal on this A3 ability. She's here for some weakens every now and then from the A1. She also does reduce the duration of buffs when they do get stolen, which is very nice. We don't have any block debuffs, which is actually very good because even if our buffs do get stolen, we don't really have to worry about not being able to actually place debuffs on the boss, which is very, very helpful. And then she's there, obviously, for the res. This allows us to actually, actually have some champions die and it not be a huge deal. She reses, heals, fills turn meter, boom, tons of stuff, okay? Revives all dead allies at 30. So her res is very nice. Obviously, it does the res, and then she gets an extra turn, and she goes into this A3 ideally. Maybe the A2, maybe the A1. It doesn't matter. All of her skills in her kit are very, very helpful. But as far as her actual gear goes, the Defiant, don't even pay attention to it. Honestly, the Defiant stuff doesn't really matter. I really don't even know why I have it on her, but she's kind of slow. She's just barely tanky enough to actually make it make sense. And then her accuracy is not even 280 before the HYDRA boost, 284. So she's doing her roles, she's doing her job, but there's a lot better built Arbiters out there that would do much better in this position as well. The biggest thing is just to make sure she's tanky. That may be the situation where some people miss because sometimes players have flat HP, flat defense on their pieces, on their speed booster, because it's all you care about is speed. So if your champion does have flat HP, flat defense, and she's like 40,000 HP, then you probably need to put some HP percentage, defense percentage on that champion so then she can actually survive. Skills, she's fully booked. We have Polymorph, useless. Brimstone would be much better, but hey, Polymorph's not fixed yet, so I'm going to use it while I can. Honestly, we're not going to be using it for very long. But as far as her masteries go, this is absolutely not tuned whatsoever for HYDRA. Matter of fact, this is actually pretty bad. Other than this ability right here, this mastery, most of it's kind of useless. As far as actually doing some damage, but her survivability is going to be much better. She is going to be very tanky, very survivable. She has 3,000 extra HP. So that is the Arbiter build. I do want to say one more thing. The champion positioning is a pretty big factor, all right? So with Shamael, he boosts Nia. He boosts the leader of the team. If Nia gets eaten by a head of HYDRA, he's now going to begin to boost Artak. If Artak gets eaten and Nia is gone as well, then he's going to go Uugo. Technically, having a different champion in Uugo's spot may be better, but I don't see a situation where one of these champions is dead, can't be rezzed, the other champion is eaten, and then Ugo's getting a turn meter boost, and it's becoming a big issue. Honestly, if your run is starting to completely break down, completely fail, and that situation's happening, you probably are going to wipe, and you probably should just reset. But either way, this is the team. Very happy with it. The exact same setup if you use Mother Side Bell. I'll show you guys the masteries for her. So she has 2 revenge accessories, which if you don't know where to get them, it's from the clan shop. Go in there, make sure you're buying those revenge accessories. Guys, it is so helpful in so many different areas of the game. Like so many. Dragon, Ice Golem, Spider, HYDRA, obviously HYDRA, Clan Boss. They're so good. Buy your revenge accessories. That's Mother Side Bell. The exact same thing as Nia, but she does have some debuff extensions. She should have buff extensions as well for the increased defense. But honestly, I think Nia is a little bit better. The Revival and Death is nice, but we didn't actually have it activate very frequently. And the increased defense just is copied by Mithrala anyways. So the decreased speed is the really only thing she's doing turn meter boosting, they're both really good champions, okay? They're both very solid. They both can definitely be used. I also turned off Mother Cybele's A3 ability. You can manual it if you wanted, but in general, the team is very auto-friendly. Like I said, I only turned it on manual to do Arbiter's res, and then I would leave it on auto, but I would just click some heads that champions were actually being eaten from. So guys, with that said, that is the team. Best of luck. I'm going to show you guys a replay of the team so you guys can see the entire run, the 50 million damage key. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit the like button down below. Drop a comment, how you like it. Do you want to see any champions substituted? Any questions? I'll be happy to answer them. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're getting very close to 30,000 subs. Actually, better yet, let's say 25,000, okay? Very close to 25,000 subs. We just passed the 20,000 sub mark, which I have to say thank you all very much for allowing me to do, getting me to that point. That's all because of you all. So thank you again for that. Hopefully you enjoy this HYDRA run, and I'll catch you all in the next video.
Eyes of fish are tight. ourselves in light, hoping we'll survive. Won't raise a white flag, 'cause I'll die on the shield as they coming for the kill. Even though my mind is reeling still. Oh, we've been here before. Armor soul, embers spit up my nose. Half dead and asleep, nightmares start to dreams. Will you be ready when the darkness comes? Eyes and fists shut tight for my sleepless nights. Feel it closing in. No holding back, it's time. Wrong in my right mind. Surely I'm convinced. Oh, we've been here before. Armor soul, embers spit up my nose. Half dead and asleep, nightmares turn to dreams. Will you be ready when the darkness comes? Clothe ourselves